Let's get more on all the data. We also want to unpack the JOLTS number. Bloomberg's Michael McKee has been looking through that. Mike?
Well, Alex, job openings did fall, as Guy pointed out at the top of the show, to 9.8 million, which is down from just over 10 million. And so that, I suppose, is some good news. But there's strength underneath the numbers in the sense that the quits rate, which the Fed watches to see how confident people are in the labor market, goes up to 2.6% from 2.4%. So there's some strength in the underlying numbers. Overall, the number of job openings that dropped the most were in healthcare and social assistance, which Anthony was just saying is the area where people are still trying to find workers. Now, this is May data. It is not June data. It is delayed, so we may have had a change in the way people are looking at things. But the JOLTS data was what the Fed was looking at in terms of tight labor markets. Seems to be loosening up a little bit on the headline area. We'll see if that continues. But the quits rate does suggest that there is some strength in the overall economy. And you put that together with what we got from ADP today and the employment numbers from the ISM Services Index and jobless claims. And you're seeing, I'm looking at the Bloomberg Whisper number, guys, and it's gone from 260 to 269 already. And we'll see about that 225. That's the forecast for tomorrow, whether that goes up as well.
Mike, is Jay Powell having a bad day?
You know, somebody asked me something like that earlier. Jay Powell doesn't want the economy to be bad. He just wants inflation to go down. So, yeah, it's difficult to see inflation going down under these circumstances. I wouldn't say it's a bad day for him, but it just complicates what they're doing. We already had Lori Logan from the Dallas Fed come out and say she was one of the people in the minutes yesterday that had wanted to raise rates in June, and she still thinks we need to raise rates, and maybe more than once. So you're probably going to hear a lot more Fed officials come out leaning that direction. We're probably nailing down a rate increase in July. And then the question becomes, what do they do in September? If we keep getting this kind of strength, then that's going to start getting priced in by the markets.
But, Guy, to your point, we talk a lot about the Goldilocks scenario, not too hot, not too cold. This is definitely a too hot thing. It's not too cold. We're nowhere near that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to your point, like that's why you could look at it as the bad news. The good news is bad news. It's just too good. And do you believe it? That's
well, the Fed is...
how many reports have you read about no one believing the ADP?
Yeah, and Mike had a great chart earlier on that basically said that the ADP is coming under the employment report for a really long time. And if you take a look at today's numbers, then that potentially points us in the direction of an epic number tomorrow as well. But everybody's having to incrementally play catch up. We're going to talk about this throughout the show. Are we now in a position where the Fed's go to 6 and the Bank of England's going to 7? We kind of thought we might go to 5 and then we got to 5, and then we thought we might go to 5.5 and we got to 5.5. Are we going to 6 next, Mike?
Well, that's probably what's going to start getting priced into the markets on out-month basis, although it'll bounce around a lot because those aren't particularly liquid contracts. But, yeah, people are starting to talk about that as a possibility. And remember, there were 3 people who thought on the Fed who in the latest dot plot thought that they would go to 6 or even higher. So it is a realistic possibility. Whether it has to happen or not depends on the other side of this equation, and that's the inflation side. We'll get those numbers next Wednesday for CPI and see if you can have this kind of Goldilocks economy. Hard to know the way things have been going. I tell you, though, if we get a number like ADP and the payrolls number tomorrow, as I told Tom Keene, you'll be doing the show from under the desk because everything will be flying around on Wall Street.